Hello, I'm Davia Chambers and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're at the Healing with Horses stable and play park in Buccoo. Healing with Horses is a non-profit organization which was started back in 2010 by a husband and wife team, Lennon and Veronica LaFortune. They found that being with horses is very therapeutic for differently abled children, so they created an integrated, inspiring space where they're embraced and empowered to realize their full potential. Mainstream school children, children from the area, and even children from abroad also have access to the Healing with Horses stable and play park. The idea is for the children to not only bond with the horses, but with each other. We'll show you the play park and horse riding ring they've developed on land donated by the Tobago House of Assembly. But first, let's tell you what's happening in our stories this week. No need to panic. The Chief Secretary says Tobago has the capacity to deal with the threat of Ebola. All you need to know to be informed about the disease, and Dwight Yorke and some other big names in football are giving back to this island. It's a boost for tourism and sports in Tobago. Welcome back to Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're at Healing with Horses in Buccoo. This is the stable area where the horses are brought to be groomed, but this place has an equipment room, a library, a carriage, and also a training area where children in the after-school club and vacation school learn to express themselves through arts and crafts, yoga, and creative gardening. Thanks to sponsorships, there's a staff of 6 persons and 15 regular volunteers who conduct fun activities with the children, both here and in the play park. But during school vacations, when student intake increases, there are as many as 80 volunteer teachers working here. But let's leave it there for now to deal with an issue that has dominated international and local headlines. It's the threat of Ebola. As you may know, the U.S. reported the first imported case, a development which demonstrated the potential for the possible introduction of Ebola into any country. The Caribbean Public Health Agency says the case in Texas provides further evidence that, as a region, the Caribbean needs to be alert and prepared. It's in this vein that the Chief Secretary and other high-profile public health officials are doing all in their power to strengthen this island's preparedness for Ebola. Time to find out what's in place.
Since the first case was diagnosed in March, Ebola has killed thousands, mainly in West Africa. The virus has now spread to North America and Europe, so Tobago is protecting itself. This island is providing personal protective equipment for its healthcare workers and those at our ports of entry, as well as ensuring they are well trained to handle the virus since it's spread through direct contact with body fluids from an infected person.
We have started our training. I've been informed by the CMOH that over 19 port health officers have been trained in terms of first those persons who would treat with this matter at the front line.
Representatives in Tobago from the healthcare sector, the Air and Seaport Authority, Customs, Immigration, TEMA, and the Police Service are all getting involved in the process to prevent a possible Ebola outbreak on the island.
The multi-sectoral approach is being considered. We are making sure that the sectors, every sector will have a responsibility for health, responsibility for responding, responsibility for interacting will be considered.
And with all the plans and procedures which are being put in place, Tobagonians are being encouraged to stay calm.
We are expecting the people of Tobago to obviously to be informed. There is no need to panic at this point in time, and all we need to do is to recognize that we have the capacity within ourselves to ensure that we do what is necessary to protect ourselves.
Other meetings are expected to take place so that the respective agencies can give updates on their plans and ensure that there is a well-integrated Ebola response. I'm Omadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
And the Tobago Public Health Emergency Response Team is also in place to deal with the threat of Ebola. The committee will be chaired by the Chief Administrator, Ray Sandy. But here are some key facts you need to know about Ebola. Ebola virus disease is a severe, often fatal illness. The typical signs and symptoms of infection are sudden onset of fever, intense weakness, muscle pain, headache, and severe sore throat. This is followed by vomiting, diarrhea, rash, impaired kidney and liver function, and in some cases, both internal and external bleeding. The incubation period, or the time interval from infection to onset of symptoms, is from 2 to 21 days. Ebola patients become contagious once they begin to show symptoms, but they're not contagious during the incubation period. Exposure to Ebola can be controlled through the use of protective measures in clinics and hospitals, at community gatherings, or at home. And here's some good news. On October 20th, the World Health Organization, the WHO, officially declared Nigeria free of the Ebola virus transmission. Senegal too has been cleared after 42 days without a single case. The 42 days represents twice the maximum incubation period for Ebola. The WHO called the Nigeria case a spectacular success story that shows that Ebola can be contained. The agency says such a story can help the many other developing countries that are deeply worried by the prospect of an imported Ebola case and who are eager to improve their preparedness plans. This is Let's Talk Tobago, and we're coming to you from the Healing with Horses Play Park in Buccoo. This park is the only one of its kind on the island, and the land space was made available to the foundation by the Tobago House of Assembly. The many trees and organic crops you see here were planted by the children and the couple who started this place. They help with stabilizing the land. Just behind these gates, children from Happy Haven and many other schools on the island learn to ride horses. And because safety is important, the area has been completely fenced. And staying with the issue of safety, everyone knows that you can never be too prepared for natural disasters. It's why the Seismic Research Center at the University of the West Indies continues to remind us of the dangers, and it's also doing all it can to educate and inform us. Each year, seismologists travel to a different Caribbean island during what's known as Earth Science Week. They've been to St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and St. Martin. This year, the week of activities came to Tobago, where they teamed up with the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, TEMA. Kishon Wilson tells us more.
Tobagonians are deepening their understanding of how the Earth is changing and the consequences for life on Earth. It's a way to learn about complex environmental problems caused by human activities, and it's being done as this island joins the world to celebrate Earth Science Week 2014. Tobago is hosting a series of educational programs and activities geared towards seismology and preparedness for disasters, all in an effort to reduce the risk of disasters. It's a collaboration between the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, TEMA, and the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center.
We want people to be more alert, understanding that if you're on the shoreline and you experience a very heavy event of an earthquake, then you need to move to higher ground, things like that. Understand the warning signs, understand the signs that comes along with these events and how to treat with them better.
But special attention is being given to young people in particular.
We essentially have like 3 or 4 components of the activity. We have kind of an introductory lecture where we tell them a little bit about the theory involved in earthquakes and in tsunamis. And then we go to some more hands-on display where they could see how plates move, why different materials break, why you have earthquakes, and also how we monitor earthquakes.
Dr. Robertson says even though Earth Science Week is celebrated once per year, follow-up visits will be done to reinforce the lessons being taught.
At the end of the week, we hope that certainly the people that we speak to, and our focus at Seismic has always been and still is in terms of our outreach on younger kids, on secondary school kids, sometimes we focus on primary school kids, as well as general public. We're hoping that at the end of the week, the people who our team have interacted with certainly know a lot more about earthquakes, about tsunamis, which are one of the prime sources of earthquakes, and about what they can do in terms of protecting themselves and minimizing the impact that these things can have.
Earth Science Week 2014 ended on October 17th. I'm Keishon Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
And there's a new program in Tobago which promises to transform lives. The aim is to better prepare us for the world of work and life, make us more employable, and hone our personal skills. But this just scratches the surface. Let's find out more from Caroline Wallace.
Pathways to Living Well. That's the name of the new curriculum for the National Life Skills Education Program. But how could this really be new if the program is already being offered at institutions like YTEP and the Tobago Technology Center? Well, the aim is to ensure that no one is left behind and everyone is on the same page. Additionally, the program has new components such as a foundation course for information communication technology.
It's citizenship education where we are empowering individuals and groups to have conscious knowledge expressed in action. We're building understanding. Why? Why is it important to be punctual, to be kind in different circumstances?
The new curriculum isn't just for persons at the vocational level. It's tailored for use by all schools and organizations.
Life skills is very important because it helps individuals, especially students, to adopt a more positive approach in the everyday environment, especially learning.
I find it's a unique way to educate the community about how to have an adaptive and positive behavior to deal with life challenges.
And Healing with Horses is one of the local organizations that see the benefits of implementing the National Life Skills Education Program.
I will ensure that this life skill program will be implemented. Life skills are very fundamental, and it is very important that we give the opportunity to each and everyone. It doesn't matter abled or disabled.
The National Life Skills Education Program seeks to develop work ethic, technical competence, and personal development in citizens. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
Now that kind of personal development will benefit all of Tobago, but an additional boost for an island like ours will be what's often described as high performance in the tourism sector. It's part of the reason professionals from all over the world will be converging on this island to attend the 7th Tourism Human Resources Conference.
The Caribbean Tourism Organization, in collaboration with the Division of Tourism and Transportation, will host the conference at Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort from October 29th to 31st. The chairman of the organizing committee, Sandra Orr, tells us what to expect over the 3-day period.
Critical to the conference program are 2 master classes, and these would be done by 2 presenters out of Canada, renowned presenters out of Canada and the USA. The first one is Mr. Ian Cook, and he's of Fulcrum and Associates. He'll be looking at closing the performance deal, how to convert employee motivation into performance. And then we have the second master class will be done by Mr. Brian Thwaites, and he's out of Canada, and he will be looking at the brain-based learning.
The 7th Tourism Human Resource Conference began as a tourism educators forum back in 2000. Its overwhelming success let's say it being transformed into a Tourism Human Resources Forum 5 years later. Today, the conference targets tourism practitioners, consultants, educators, tourism stakeholders, and other professionals within the public and private sector. The idea is to enhance skills in certain areas and allow opportunities for professional networking.
I would like to just invite all and sundry to our beautiful island of Tobago. Come and be part of an experience, come and be part of an opportunity to share best practices and to interact with your regional partners.
Ms. Orr believes the conference will bring great benefits to Tobago. I'm Keishon Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
Tobago is known as the capital of paradise, attracting visitors from all over the world, many anxious to experience our natural beauty. But an easy turnoff is the island's stray animals. They're a major public health issue. So how do we deal with this? One solution is through the Spaying Prevents Overpopulation of Trinidad and Tobago campaign. It's a public drive to reduce the number of stray animals roaming our communities.
When stray or roaming animals are brought here, the Tobago shelter of the Trinidad and Tobago Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals on November 1st and 2nd, they'll undergo a surgical procedure to prevent them from reproducing.
It's a surgical procedure where we go into the abdominal cavity of females and we remove the womb and the ovaries. We also remove the testicles of the males. And because they're surgical procedures, we have to do general anesthesia.
This is being done to control the overbreeding of animals on this island.
At least they won't have the unwanted puppies and kittens, and some people do abandon these animals in the forest and so on. So what do stray animals do, to directly answer your question? Stray animals affect the wildlife population on the one hand. They may carry diseases, they may injure humans, and in the cases of dogs in particular, they may be associated with road traffic accidents.
He says there's no limit to the amount of animals an individual can bring, but the shelter is limited to taking the first 120 animals.
We encourage people to bring as many animals as they can. However, to participate, they must call and register. So the persons who are interested in having dogs or cats spayed or neutered, whether stray or owned, we're doing potong dogs, Tobago terriers, small mixed breed dogs, that sort of thing. They should call the animal shelter at 639-2567.
The program runs on November 1st and 2nd at the Animal Shelter in Bacalat, as well as the Canaan Community Center from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
It's time to take another break, but coming up, some of football's big stars are coming to Tobago. And what's more, they'll be giving back to our young people. You're viewing Let's Talk Tobago. Thanks for staying with us at the Healing with Horses Play Park. We're told that feeding the horses starts a bonding process. It relaxes them and also builds trust between the horses and the people. Some of these animals are ex-race horses and pets donated to the foundation. Some came from as far as England, California and Jamaica. Princess Julie is the only Buccoo-born horse, and she was rehabilitated after falling off a cliff. Healing with Horses is clearly doing its part to build a better Tobago. And in the area of sports, a son of the soil is also giving back. He's just one of many former top professional footballers set to compete solely for bragging rights as this island increases its profile as a healthy, active, fun place to visit. Juliet James tells us more.
Tobago Global Brand Ambassador Dwight Yorke is among 64 former international footballers targeted to participate in the British Airways Tobago Legends Football Challenge. The former Manchester United player believes that this Masters football tournament will boost the island's tourism sector.
I think it'll be a great one, and one that, some major superstars in the past will grace our country and enjoy the ambience.
Dwight Yorke says that the British Airways Tobago Football Legends Challenge tournament is a chance to utilize the international expertise of former football greats to inspire young local talent.
For me, it's important that the community part of it is very important, and these players, you will see how passionate that they are in giving back, because we've been very fortunate as players to play at the very top level, but also we are very aware of our duties to give back to the community. So that's what we'll be doing, and I'm sure the kids will have a wonderful time.
A 90-minute special of the challenge will be aired on Sky Sports, and former Man U striker Louis Saha says he's excited and is looking forward to being part of the event.
What we're going to try to bring is obviously, as I said, values. Sport is a big vehicle of values. You can teach youth how to behave, how to conduct themselves. So that's what we're going to try to achieve.
The British Airways Tobago Football Legends Challenge will kick off next year from June 15th to 22nd. It will feature former football players from the United Kingdom Premier clubs, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool and Manchester United, as they face off with select teams from the Professional Footballers Association and the Caribbean All-Stars side. The event is hosted by the Divisions of Tourism and Transportation and Education, Youth Affairs and Sport in collaboration with the Magdalena Grand Beach and Gulf Resort. From the Division of Tourism and Transportation, I'm Juliet James reporting for Let's Talk Tobago.
That event is intended to give back to Tobago, but it's complemented by other initiatives, some of which have already taken root and are in Speyside, Mount Pleasant, Calder Hall and Plymouth. Mason Hall is the latest community to be added to that list. More from Umadara Mills.
That's just a bit of what the young people of Mason Hall can do on the drums, but they also act in folk and cultural dances. Now they have the opportunity to hone their computer and academic skills with the 10 computers which have been provided for them in their very own youth or Y zone. The president of the Mason Hall Village Council, Lusandra Roberts, says the center should be seen as an opportunity to improve lives.
I am hoping that they would all be able to make use of the opportunities, the privileges in a very tangible way. So at the end of it all, we can say, well, yes, they have all benefited from it.
Although the center falls under the Division of Community Development and Culture, it will be up to the youths using the space to come up with the programs they believe will benefit themselves and the community, a charge which those in the THA believe the youths can undertake. Y zones are just part of a bigger plan by the THA to transform communities through empowerment and the development of its young people. They're the only places that specifically facilitate the needs of young Tobagonians. I'm Umadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Staying with the community focus, let's tell you that Palatuve, Bloody Bay and Lands for Me got the opportunity to showcase their use of the indigenous food crop, the dasheen. But it wasn't all fun. There's also a competition element to the Tobago Blue Food Festival. Let's find out who tantalized the judges' taste buds.
From a field of 11 local cooks, Charlene John and Susan Bigford Hernandez emerged the winners as Cook of the Day. Miss John also had the best table display, and Mrs. Bigford Hernandez got the judges' nod for the best tasting dasheen dish. Other winners in the Blue Food competition are Mulder Taylor, Most Innovative Dish, Kevin Charles, Best Dashing Dessert, and Carlton Campbell's Dashing Wine won him Best Dashing Drink. This patron from Gasparillo is pleased to see the various dashing creations.
So I think it's very interesting because of the different type of foods that you can make with the Blue Food in terms of the dashing, and not just like provision, but you have a lot like the bread, dashing ice cream, dashing punch, and the list goes on.
The Tobago Blue Food Festival is not only choosing the best to cook. Young artists had the opportunity to display their interpretation of the Blue Food theme.
This piece of work, all right, we would have looked at it, its depiction of the theme, Blue Food, its appeal, the quality use of medium, the texture and balance. Those were some of the categories which were used to assess the pieces today.
Apart from the competition, some booths showed off their creative demonstrations.
Everything is trapped inside. All the juices get to flow directly through the pig, and I have it on a bamboo. I mostly use bamboo, and that's where I put it over the fire and roast it.
Calypso veteran The Mighty Shadow wowed patrons with some of his favorite hits. Singing some of the latest reggae is Tobago's own Oscar B. Not missing a beat, Blacks came with the latest selection of soca music. And bringing the curtain down on the Tobago Blue Food Festival is the People's Champion. From the Division of Tourism and Transportation, I'm Juliet James reporting for Let's Talk Tobago.
And it's time to have your say, the segment of our program where we hear from you, our viewers. As we told you earlier, this island is doing its part to protect Tobago from the threat of Ebola. Measures are now in place to ensure everyone, including travelers, healthcare workers and educational institutions, know how to reduce their risk. They're also being told what to do if they become ill or are exposed. Systems at our ports of entry have been beefed up, and the Tobago House of Assembly has reassured there's no need to panic. So today we're asking, what have you done to educate yourself about Ebola? This is what you said.
I will get information on it and hoping that we don't have any cases here.
I am getting as much information as I can from the news media. There's Facebook, YouTube. You could use Google, the internet, any kind of website.
Instead of going on Facebook, go on Google, educate yourself.
And that's how we bring this week's edition of Let's Talk Tobago to a close. Remember, you can send us your comments or queries on anything you've seen in this program to information@tha.gov.tt or visit us at www.tha.gov.tt. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Davia Chambers, and on behalf of all of us at the Department of Information, have a safe and enjoyable week. And as we go, let's leave you with some final images of healing with horses.